There's a big difference between what you can put on the lawn at the beginning of spring or the very end of winter and what you should put on the lawn at the end of winter going into spring. Typically, the first things that we put on the lawn, or at least that we should put on the lawn around this time of year, is a weed pre-emergent. This is a preventative product. It prevents weeds from germinating in the spring so that we don't have to go and kill weeds or deal with weeds or pull weeds later in the year. This usually is around like June, July, August time frame. Nobody wants to be out hand pulling weeds in the middle of July. And weed killers don't even work very well in the middle of July. It's too hot, regardless of where you live. So if you live way down south where it's warm throughout this hot during the summer and it doesn't really get cold during the winter, most of the grasses that are grown there tend to be what we call warm season grasses. They don't actually start greening up and growing until the dirt in your lawn gets to at least 55 degrees. That means you could be having 70-degree days during the month of March. But if your nighttime temperatures are getting down into the 40s, then your average temperatures don't usually get much above 55 degrees. So most of the grasses down there stay dormant for a while. Weeds tend to germinate also at around 55 degrees. So once you start seeing hints of green in your lawn, that usually is an indication of the correct soil temperature to apply a weed pre-emergent. You don't want to put a fertilizer down quite yet. You want to wait until the lawn actually fully greens up and starts growing. Now, for cool season grasses up north, cool season grasses are going to start greening up when the soil temperatures are more in the 45-degree range. So it's going to feel a lot colder outside when your grass starts greening up than it is down south. Areas like this are most likely going to get a weed pre-emergent applied before anything else. However, because the grass can green up well before the soil temperatures get to 50 degrees, you could put a fertilizer down early in the season before the weed pre-emergent. But not just any fertilizer will do. It has to be synthetic. So if you're going to put a synthetic fertilizer down first to thicken out or make your green cool season grass tiller left and right and just thicken, then that's an acceptable practice. You could also put down an organic fertilizer at that time, knowing full well that the fertilizer won't do anything to the grass for at least another few weeks or so. Typically, however, all of those places, even up north, are still going to get the weed pre-emergent put down first. And that's because lawns come out of dormancy early in the season naturally, and then they start growing naturally. Like it's the spring flush. It's what nature has intended. So you don't usually have to fertilize so early in the season. Now that's kind of what you should be doing first thing in the season. But what you could be putting down early in the season, completely optional steps, but this is how you take a lawn that looks really good and make it look really great, is you're going to be putting down soil amendments. This is not exactly food for the grass, nor does it have anything to do with weeds. This is literally about making the dirt in your lawn a healthier growing medium for the lawn itself. You can put down some humic acids, some biochar, you can do biostimulants, you could top dress the lawn with worm castings or compost or enriched topsoil. I've put green sand and azomite on mine. There's a whole bunch of soil amendments that you can do and pH adjusters. So if you've run a soil test before and you know that your soil is either too acidic or too alkaline, then you can start adjusting your soil pH before anything else. A lot of that stuff is fairly advanced, however, and certainly not everybody does it. Certainly falls into the optional category. It's not things that you should do, it's things that you could do first in the season. If you do want to learn more about what happens throughout the spring in order, step by step, I've got an entire video about it right up here. Make sure to watch this next if you haven't seen it yet.